EA Sports, baby. It's in the game.
Madden NFL 2004.
Welcome to Madden Bowl 2003. 8 years ago, this event barely rated the term party. Now it's the event of Super Bowl week. Hi, I'm Al Michaels, here to recap what happened at this star-studded extravaganza. For those who don't know, Madden Bowl is an all-pro tournament during the week leading up to the Super Bowl. Only 8 NFL players are in the single elimination tournament, but hundreds show up for the party. This year's event was held at Axiom in San Diego's historic Gaslamp District.
I got drilled.
Before, during, and after the tournament, many NFL players and their guests played Madden NFL 2003 on game stations located throughout the club. But the main event was the tournament. The 8-man bracket included Amon Green from the Green Bay Packers, Sean Alexander from the Seattle Seahawks, Bubba Franks, also from the Green Bay Packers. The runner-up from last year's event, Sammy Knight of the New Orleans Saints, Anthony Thomas of the Chicago Bears, Dante Culpepper of the Minnesota Vikings, Roy Williams from the Dallas Cowboys, and finally Dwight Freeney of the Indianapolis Colts. So the stage was set for the final competition between Dwight Freeney, a rookie defensive end from the Indianapolis Colts, and Sammy Knight, the 7-year veteran of the New Orleans Saints defensive backfield. And in the end, the rookie was too much for the veteran as Freeney handed Knight another second-place finish. The final score, 10-0. Freeney was magnanimous in victory. So that's Madden Bowl 2003. Good fun, good competition, good game.
Hi, I'm Melissa Stark, and it's time for another season of football with Madden 2004. To kick off 2004, Al Michaels is going to tell you about a few of the great new features that we've added to this legendary football series. Al?
Thanks, Melissa. For starters, we'd like to welcome you to the Owner's Box with Owner Mode. Owner Mode is the new addition to Franchise Mode that lets you become the owner of your favorite team and experience the highs and lows of being the man who calls the shots for an NFL franchise. Hire and fire your coaching staff and training staffs, manage the salary cap, build a new stadium, set ticket and concession prices, or relocate your team. Next, we take you onto the field to show you the newest innovation in gameplay called Playmaker Control. Playmaker Control separates the field generals from the soldiers as we give you on-the-fly control over your players. Tell your receiver to break off his route early, or send your safeties to provide over-the-top support. These are just a few of the ways Playmaker Control will give you more control over player behavior than ever before. In addition to Playmaker Control, Madden NFL 2004 brings you the most authentic plays and playbooks, new offensive and defensive formations, and the ability to swap personnel packages while picking a play, helping you create valuable mismatches.
Thanks, Al. Be sure to check out these and several other new features in Madden NFL 2004. Hi, I'm Melissa Stark, and this year's version of Madden NFL 2004 gives you more control over the action than ever before, with a big innovation in gameplay called Playmaker Control. Let's go over to Al Michaels, who will tell you everything you need to know about Playmaker Control on offense.
Thanks, Melissa. Playmaker Controls provides several ways for you to take more control of the on-the-field action than ever before. For starters, let's take a look at some of the new things you can do on offense before the play begins. Playmaker Control gives you the ability to change the direction of your called running play without tipping off your opponent by having players shift or reposition themselves. Let's take a look at how this works. The currently called play is a sweep right, but it doesn't look too good because the defense has stacked extra players on the right side of the offense. This is a perfect opportunity to flip the play and take the sweep to the left side. To flip this play, you simply point the right thumbstick in the opposite direction of the currently called play. The ball carrier will flash, and a new route arrow will show you where the play is now headed. The quarterback will tap his hip, and an icon will appear on screen indicating that the play has been changed. If you're playing a head-to-head game, the only indication that the play has been changed will be the hip tap. Now let's run the play. Perfect. No one is home on the left side, and he's off to the races. Now let's try a passing play. On this called passing play, the primary receiver is set to run a 10-yard in. But you can see that the cornerback is cheating inside a little. With Playmaker Control, you can quickly change the primary receiver's route by pressing the right thumbstick up, down, left, or right. Up will send the receiver on a wheel route. Down will have him run a 1-yard hook. Right will send him to the right flats. Then left sends him to the left flats. We'll go up with a wheel route for this play. Now let's run the play. The DB is caught out of position for a big gain. Making the right adjustments at the line of scrimmage is a big part of being a good player, but in order to be considered a big-time playmaker, you need to be able to react on the fly when your plans break down. On most running plays, your blockers are going to pick up the closest defender to them when they hit the open field. With Playmaker Control, you can decide which defenders your blocker picks up by simply pointing the right thumbstick in the direction of the defender. The ball carrier will point at the defender he wants blocked, and an icon will appear on screen indicating that the blocking has been changed. Now that the block is set, the blocker will do the rest, and you're clear for the touchdown. Now let's see what Playmaker Control does for you on a passing play. On this passing play, the quarterback is rolling out, but his receivers are all covered. The quarterback recognizes that there is no one up top, so he wants to send his receiver to the open area. To do this, you simply point the right thumbstick in the area you want the receiver to go. The quarterback will point in the receiver's new direction, and an icon will appear on screen to indicate that the receiver has a new assignment. Your receiver will flash and head to the area. The receiver heads to the open spot, the quarterback gets the ball off, and you're headed for the horse trailer.
Thanks, Al. Well, I'm sure you're excited to jump in and use Playmaker offense, but be sure to watch the tutorial on Playmaker defense as well. Hi, I'm Melissa Stark, and this year's version of Madden NFL 2004 gives you more control over the action than ever before with a big innovation in gameplay called Playmaker Control. Let's go over to Al Michaels, who will tell you everything you need to know about Playmaker Control on defense.
Thanks, Melissa. Playmaker Controls provides several ways for you to take more control of the on-the-field action than ever before. For starters, let's take a look at some of the new things you can do on defense before the play begins. Playmaker Control gives you the ability to shift your deep coverage on the fly. This is useful if you line up and find your opponent's offense stacked heavily to one side, and you need to shift yourself into a better zone to defend the play before the ball is snapped. In this situation, the offense has lined up in trips right. To shift your safeties over a zone to the right or to the left, you simply point the right thumbstick in the desired direction. For this play, we'll shift them to the right. As the new zone is selected, the shifting players will flash, and their new zones on the icon will be displayed. To avoid tipping your opponent off in a head-to-head game, the only indication that the zone has been changed will be the shifting safety in the on-field icon. Quarterback throws to his receiver, and the safety is in position to break up the play. With Playmaker Control, even if you make the wrong defensive play call or adjustment, you can still recover after the ball is snapped. Here's how it works. After the ball is snapped, you have a second to decide if you want to have your defense attack the run or have your safety drop into over-the-top help to cover the deep pass. If you detect a pass play, press up on the right thumbstick and your safety will drop into over-the-top coverage. If you detect a run play, you can make your defense attack the run by pressing down with the right thumbstick, as this will cause the defense to blitz directly up the field. If you think the run is headed to the left, you can press down and to the left. If you think the run is headed to the right, press down and to the right. Be sure to decide quickly because you have only 1 second. The quarterback appears to be turning to hand the ball off, so let's try to shut down the run. Press down and to the right. The defense gets the jump and shuts the play down.
Thanks, Al. Now you're ready to jump in and use Playmaker defense, but be sure to watch the tutorial on Playmaker offense as well. Hi, I'm Melissa Stark, introducing you to Owner Mode, which gives you 30 seasons to make the big trades, sign the key free agents, and draft the right players to build an NFL dynasty. And now with Owner Mode editions, franchise play gives you more control than ever before. Al?
Thanks, Melissa. To get into owner mode, you simply select game modes from the main menu. Select franchise and select your team. Owner mode is already turned on for you. Once you've begun your franchise, you can track the state of your team by selecting owner's box from the franchise main menu. From the owner's box screen, you can get a high-level view of the key concerns of your team, like fan support, attendance, team record, and cash assets. Now remember, when you own a team, you're running a business, and the success of the business depends on how you react when times are tough. This owner has a losing record, low attendance, and fan support is down. If you know you need to make changes but don't know what to do, asking your advisors is a good place to start. Based on the feedback from the advisors, I would say this guy needs to do something to make his fans happy until his team wins some more games. A good way to get fan support when your team is losing is to lower prices. Select Set Prices from the Owner Box screen. From this menu, you can choose to change prices for tickets, concessions, merchandise, parking, or advertising. Let's start with tickets. Select ticket prices, select the seating area of the stadium, and press left or right on the directional buttons to adjust the prices. As the price adjusts, the arrow will tell you if your prices are on par with the league average, above or below. Now that you've attempted to calm the fans, let's take a more detailed look at your finances before you spend any more money. Select information from the owner's box menu. From here, you'll be able to get detailed information on fan support, attendance, expectations, income, expenses, franchise and team, stadium info, city info, and the owner's rating. Let's take a quick look at expenses. On the expenses menu, you can get a quick breakdown of where your money is going. As an owner, your job is never done. Once the season ends, you'll get to look at your balance sheet and see what kind of profit you made for the year. It looks like this owner was able to pull it together and made a good profit on the season. Not a bad year. Now that the season is over, the real work begins for the owners in the offseason. The first big task for the owner in the offseason is to decide whether or not you want to stay with the same coaching staff or if you want to make some staff changes. If you had a good season, you'll probably want to leave your staff in place, but you also have to worry about other teams hiring away your coordinators if they have high coaches' ratings. To take a look at your current staff, select Staffing. From here, you can sign a coach, view your coaching staff and training staff, or evaluate your coach's progression. Let's look at the coaching staff. From this screen, you can release a coach or promote a coach from coordinator to head coach. It appears that this team needs a defensive coordinator. To hire a coach, go back to the Sign Coach screen and find a coach. The top right corner of the screen lists the coach's attributes and what coaching staff positions the team needs to hire for. Since this team needs a defensive coordinator, they need to pick a coach with a high defensive rating. Once you have found a coach that meets your standards, bring up the offer sheet and negotiate a contract. Change the position, salary information, contract length, and submit the offer. Now that you've satisfied your off-season owner tasks, you're ready to attack your salary cap, NFL draft, and free agency to make sure you can put a winning club on the field next season. Good luck.
Thanks, Al. Be sure to check out those and several other new features in Madden NFL 2004.
Hey you, come on over.
year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers proved to saying that defense wins championships. Calling the right plays on defense is very important, but in order to have a championship caliber defense, you must be able to execute after the ball is snapped. In this tutorial, Al Michaels will teach you the moves you need for a dominating defense.
Thanks, Melissa. The first thing you need to learn about is switching players. You know which player you have control over because you'll have a circle underneath him. The other 10 players are controlled by the computer. To switch players, simply press the A button. This will give you control over the next best player, not necessarily the closest player. Make sure you know which player you're controlling before you start moving him around. Once you have control of your player, there are several things you can do. Let's start with the defensive line pass rush. When you're controlling a defensive lineman and you're getting blocked, one of the moves you can do is a spin move. To execute a spin, press the L trigger. This is a very effective outside move for defensive ends. For inside moves, you might want to try a swim or rip move. To execute a swim or rip, press the R trigger. This is a good way for defensive tackles to squeeze into the gaps and disrupt a running play. For linebackers and defensive backs, a big key to success is knowing how to pursue the play and make tackles. There are times when you'll need to sprint full speed to run down a play. To sprint on defense, press and hold the B button. Just like on offense, sprinting will make you run faster, but it will be harder to turn. A common mistake on defense is using the sprint too much and over-pursuing the play. That's where the strafe move comes into play. To use the strafe move, press and hold the R trigger. The strafe will make your player square his shoulders and break down into a good position to make the tackle. Learning proper usage of the sprint move and the strafe move will put you into great position to make plays, and that's half the battle. When you're in position to make a play on a pass, you have to decide whether you want to swat it away or go for the interception. To attempt to swat the ball away, press the L trigger. The swats are very effective in breaking up pass plays, and they're relatively low risk. So if you don't bat the ball away, you're still in pretty good position to make the tackle. But if you're an aggressive guy, then you probably will try for more interceptions. To attempt an interception, press the Y button. Interceptions are a gamble because they can be difficult to haul in. If you go for the pick and fail, you could give up a big play. However, turnovers are keys to winning games, so the reward of an interception is much greater. Playing under control is the mark of a good player, but sometimes you have to sell out to make the big play. The defensive dive is a move that you need to know how to use. To make your player dive, press the X button. While most coaches teach you never to leave your feet, diving can allow you to make plays that would not be possible otherwise. A lot of gamers make the mistake of switching and diving too often, which can take them out of the play. I suggest you dive only when you have no other way to make the tackle. The last move to learn is to strip the ball. This one is big because it's very rewarding and can be low risk if you use it in the right situation. To strip the ball, press the black button. The best time to use this move is when the ball carrier is in a lot of traffic. Don't use it in one-on-one situations because you're just going to miss the tackle.
Thanks, Al. Well, that wraps up this lesson in defense. Mix smart defensive play calling strategy in with these defensive control skills, and you will field a solid defense. Hi, I'm Melissa Stark. So you think you've mastered the basic skills and controls needed to play Madden NFL 2004. And now you want to separate yourself from the competition. Let's go over to Al Michaels, who will teach you some tricks to turn your game up a notch.
Thanks, Melissa. When you break the huddle and your called play is a sweep right, and you see that the defense has taken his middle linebacker to the wide side of the field anticipating a sweep, this is a good time to call an audible to run up the middle. To call an audible, you simply press the X button to activate the audible, and then press the button of the new play. You have 5 audibles to choose from, and these audibles are mapped to the A button, X button, B button, L trigger, and R trigger. We're going with the X button. Your players will shift formation, and you're ready to run your play. Perfect. If you want to change which plays are available as audibles, you can do this by pausing game and going to coach's strategies, selecting the audible that you want to change, and selecting the new play. Another way to take advantage of the defense before the snap of the ball without changing the entire play is hot routes. In this situation, the receiver is set to run a curl route, but the safety has walked up to the line of scrimmage showing blitz and leaving a huge space to exploit. This gives you the perfect opportunity to send your slot on a streak route down the field. To do this, you simply press the Y button to activate hot routes. Press the button the receiver you want to change. That would be the X button. Now press the directional pad to pick the new route. Press left or right for an in or out pattern, down for a curl, up for a fly route, and white or black for a slant left or post pattern. For this play, we'll press up for the fly. The route has been changed. Now let's run the play. There's no one in up top support, and your receiver is clear for 6. Another useful hot route technique that could spoil the plans of this blitzing safety is a blocking hot route. The blocking hot route can be used by the running back or tight end and allows you to tell your player to stay home and which side to block to. To do this, you simply press the Y button to activate hot routes. Press the button of the tight end or running back that you want to change. That would be the L trigger. Now press the white button to have the running back block to the left or the black button to have him block to the right. Let's go with the black button to stop him from blitzing the outside. The route has been changed, and now let's run the play. The running back picks him up, and the quarterback has time to throw one deep. Sending a player in motion is another good way to get the edge on the defense in the passing game and can be useful in giving your receiver a better shot at getting open or in the running game to bring an extra blocker. To send a player in motion, you simply press up or down on the directional pad to highlight the player you want to send. Let's select the tight end. Pressing left or right on the directional pad will send the player in the desired direction. On this play, the offense is running a sprint left to the wide side of the field. Pressing left and bringing the tight end to the side of the play gives the back an additional blocker. The tight end picks up the linebacker, springing the running back for a good pickup. One more advanced gameplay feature that you need to be aware of is the no-huddle offense. After the play is over, there are 3 options for your offense without them having to return to the huddle. By pressing the Y button as soon as the play is over, you will make your players run to the line of scrimmage and get set to run the same play without huddling up first. If time is running out and you don't want to spend a timeout, you can press the B button immediately after a play is over to spike the ball and stop the clock. If you want to throw your opponent off, you can fake spiking the ball by pressing the X button after the play is over and then running the play. These options are all very useful weapons when you're out of timeouts or very little time is left on the clock. Don't worry, the advanced gameplay techniques are not only for the offense, there are also a few for the defense to make you more effective at stopping the run and the pass. If you line up on defense and think your opponent is going to try to run the ball off the middle, you can shift your defensive line to close down the gaps by pressing the L trigger and down on the directional pad. You can also shift your defensive line to the left by pressing the L trigger and left on the directional pad, or right by pressing the L trigger and right on the directional pad, or the L trigger and up to spread the defensive ends outside the tackles. For this play, we'll press down to close the gaps. This run is going nowhere. You can also make adjustments for the linebackers and secondary as well. You can shift your linebackers around the field by pressing the R trigger and down on the directional pad to tighten the linebackers' spacing to protect the middle. You can also shift your linebackers to the left by pressing the R trigger and left on the directional pad, or right by pressing the R trigger and right on the directional pad, or R trigger and up to spread the linebackers. For this play, we'll shift the linebackers left. The linebackers are in position to stop the sweep. Finally, let's take a look at coverage adjustments. For the defensive backs, you can adjust their coverage by pressing the Y button and then pressing the directional pad up to drop your defensive backs into loose pass coverage. If you want to have your defensive backs play bump and run, press down. If you want to shift your safeties and linebackers into better position to cover their man, press right on the directional buttons. For this play, we'll press down for the bump and run. The corners are able to tangle the receivers up long enough to throw off their timing, and the quarterback can't escape the blitz. Once you get the hang of these, you can mix them up and truly dominate your opponent.
Thanks, Al. Well, now you have the tools you need to take your game to an all-pro level. Make sure to check out all of the tutorials in Madden NFL 2004.
Oh no, she's had a secret now.